you need to, I am going to be recording tonight's session, so just anytime you do sign up for class with us, if you signed up in advance, your name on a list, we'll email you those recordings. If you ever need to, again, leave early, late, or just miss it entirely, you'll get those recordings. You guys can go and check out everything that we covered later. All right, so what is a target list? Let's start with that. It's really going to be a list of schools that meet what you guys are looking for, right? So your preferences as an individual student, player, and also, just as importantly, meet your qualifications as a player and as a student, right? We want to make sure it's a good fit from both ends. So we're going to break that down into 3 types of schools that we want on our target list. The majority of our list, let's say if we have 25 schools, probably 15 to 20 of them should be kind of our sweet spot, right? Our best fit schools where you really are a great fit for what those coaches are typically looking to recruit, your sport, and then also academically, we're right in line with the GPA, the test scores that your typical student would have at that school. Reach schools where maybe one or even both of those things might be a little bit of a stretch at this point. Maybe we're not quite as tall as, say, the point guard that usually recruit at Duke. But heck, we grew up a huge Blue Devils fan, so why not? Let's take our shot, right? Maybe you dreamed of going to an Ivy League school, and maybe we don't have that perfect ACT or straight A's, but what the heck? We're not a bad student. Let's take a shot. That's what we mean when we say reach schools. Okay? Have a couple of those? Absolutely. There's no harm in that at all. But again, that should be a handful. If you're in a target list of, say, 25 schools, which is the minimum number we normally recommend, we probably don't want more than 5 that are reach schools on there. Same thing for safety schools. We do want a few, want a handful in the mix, or you're maybe a little overqualified, either as an athlete or as a student, possibly both. But again, we don't want a ton of those. Those are more of our kind of our backup plans, right? So safety schools are good to have in the mix too. But once again, the vast majority of our list really be made up of these kind of sweet spot schools here, where it's really in your wheelhouse. Okay, why do we do this? Why not just why take the time to even bother with this? Most importantly, guys, this is allowing you to take control of your process. If we just sit back and wait for stuff to happen to you, you may not hear from schools that have what you want, or the school about that have what you want. The coaches aren't recruiting a player at your position in your graduating class, right? They're all set there. Just brought in a freshman for 3 years in a row, at that spot, and they're just not going to, have room on the roster for another catcher or whatever it may be, right? So ultimately, that's the most important reason, is you're not leaving things up to chance. You are taking control of this process and finding schools that have what you're looking for, and now we're going to know which coaches are interested in you too, and you've got what they're looking for, right? That's the most important reason. To do that, though, each of you needs to start thinking about what are your biggest priorities, whether you're a senior or a freshman or even younger. It's never too late to start thinking about it. Obviously, if we're a little further along in your career, if you're a junior or especially a senior, we really do want to pick at least 1 or 2 of these things that are a high priority for you. For some of you, again, it could be playing time. It could be playing the highest level that you possibly can. Maybe, hey, even if I'm on the bench, got a red shirt a year, or maybe I never even start, but if I can say I played Division I football, that's the most important thing to me. Some of you might say the opposite of that. I don't care if it's Division III. If I'm a 4-year starter, that's where I want to go. I don't want to be on the bench, right? Some of you, again, could be academically a major you're looking for, or just looking to go to an elite academic school. Affordability is a big factor that comes up a lot in our conversations with you guys. And absolutely, the goal should be to get education, but not come out with a ton of debt if we can. So that can be something that we want to look at here. Look is another one that a lot of athletes, end up playing within a couple hundred miles from where they grew up. Very, very common there. About 80% of college athletes are within about 500 miles from their hometown. So each of you be a little different. Some of you might only care about one of those. Some of you might care about all of those, but you need to start at least thinking about what's most important to you. Then that will help you to narrow things down from there and start to go in those schools that have these factors, right? And from there, start figuring out what schools are most likely going to be a fit for you, where you've got what that coaching staff is looking for as well. How are we going to help you guys with this? We don't want to just say, hey, okay, here's our website, here's all the tools and all the internet to offer. Good luck. That's not what we're doing, guys. We want to certainly help guide you in the right direction too. Number one, we're going to evaluate your video. By the way, we're going to talk about each one of these bullet points in a little more detail on the coming slides, so we'll breeze through this pretty quick, but we'll evaluate your film as a college coach is going to do in your sport. You also can have VIP evaluation sessions with a head recruiting coach in your sport. We'll talk more about what exactly that is, what all goes into that. Here, I'll get your match percentage too. Once we have all the information that we need from you guys athletically, academically, you've plugged in your preferences, you will then start to see a match percentage that should help guide you into the right schools as well. We will also be sending your information out to schools with a high match percentage, and then we certainly have a number of tools on the website as well, both within CSA and even outside that will coach you through to help you guys reach on your own and again, take more control of this process and build your own target list. So into your video evaluation, most importantly, understand that in your sport, whether it's football, softball, hockey, whatever it is, we, as your head recruiting coaches, played or coached your sport at a college level. A lot of us have done both, but either one, we're looking at it really from a coach's lens in your sport, evaluating your film, and again, giving you really an unbiased opinion of where you feel you're going to have the most success. That's ultimately our only concern is, hey, I really think that, you know, we should focus most of our time at Division 2 or Division 1 or Division 3 or NAIA, whatever it is. Okay, we want to just shoot you guys straight and you, again, know where we feel you're probably going to be getting most bang for your buck, right? Getting the better return on your investment of your time and effort. Okay, so that's really what our goal is here. It's also the number one thing any college coach is going to look for, unless you're in a sport where it's really more about your times, your PRs, say swimming or track. It's all about your film. Other factors can be important too. Every sport's a little different. You know, for a sport like football or basketball, size can be a big factor. Others, you know, your stats might be a little more important for, you know, baseball or softball. You know, how hard do you throw? That can be a factor. But ultimately, the number one thing any coach is going to be looking for is your film. You know, we're looking for athleticism. You know, how good of a competition are you playing against too? If you're doing really well against other elite competition and showing that you can compete and hold your own, that's great. You know, if we are running circles around everybody, but you're clearly just head and shoulders above a bunch of other players that probably aren't going to be going on to play in college, again, that's going to be a factor. That's something that college coaches will recognize as well. So you guys can see on the screen, those are all the different things that we're going to be looking for, or a few of the things we're going to be looking for. But ultimately, it's going to be primarily based on your video, right, when it comes to your athletic evaluation. The VIP evaluation session. This is going to be an hour-long call, usually about 45 minutes. We will reserve a whole hour for it, though, to make sure we have plenty of time to cover all this information. What we're going to do is start by watching your film with you guys. And again, this will be a coach in your sport, a head recruiting coach in whatever sport it is that you're enrolled in with us. That can watch the film with you and let you guys understand and know what coaches are looking at. Here's what they're looking for, and here's where you really stack up, you know, college prospect. So give us, again, an evaluation through a coach's lens of your video and where your skills are right now. We'll also have done some research prior to that call. Whatever head recruiting coach you'll be speaking with, they will have picked out a top 10 list for you guys to start building your target list. Again, we want about 25 schools or even maybe a few more, especially if you're younger. We probably even want to go a little larger than that. But we'll help you guys get started with, hey, here's 10 schools. We looked into that, you know, have what you said you're looking for, and we also feel it could be a good option for you as well. We'll also discuss sort of the timeline. So whether you're a freshman or a senior, here you're at in the process, here's what coaches are going to be focused on, here's what you need to be focusing on, here's what we're going to be doing to help you every step of the way too. Okay, so we'll give us, again, a sort of a timeline of what to expect over the months and year. And then most importantly too, okay, so you know kind of what coaches think and how they're looking at your film. You're going to have a list of schools to start. Well, what do we from there? We want to start reaching out to those coaches. So we're going to go through a detailed game plan to help you guys best market yourselves to college programs that you want to try to get in contact with. Depending on what membership you're at, you all have access to this. So would like a session, go up to the top right corner and you'll see here where your phone's going to show up. Click on that and then click the Get a Coaching Session button. From it's going to bring you to this page where you can pull up our calendar and see every head recruit coach in your sport, any times that we still have open on our schedules. You guys can pull up our calendar, reserve spot. It'll tell you exactly how many sessions you have left. So it could be limited, it could be 1, it could be 0. If you are out, though, if you don't have any sessions with your current membership, or you maybe already used up the sessions that you had, you absolutely can purchase more if you really feel like, hey, we need a little bit more help, we need another session. Just give us a call, guys. We can get you set up with another session there, okay? We're talking about when we say your match percentage is really our algorithm that we've developed here and certainly tweaked year over year to get even better and more accurate for you guys. And so that's what we say, what we refer to when we say your match percentage. So if you have uploaded video, you have uploaded your transcripts, test scores too. If you're a senior, we should have those up there by now as well. And then also make sure you've references. And if you haven't checked those in a while, I do recommend you go back and just double check, make sure it's still accurate for what you're looking for. Some of you might have changed your mind about the major you want, or first started you said, hey, I'll go anywhere, and now that it's a little closer to going to school, you're like, maybe I don't want to go clear across the country. So check your preferences too. That's going to all impact your percentage. But the preferences, like you see, is going to be one of those sections. So whatever that you guys have saved in there, it's going to cause those numbers to go up or down. What the coaches have set in their preferences too, right? So they are going to be contacting us. We are also reaching out to them to gather information from these different programs. So when they say, hey, we look to fill these specific positions in our 2018 recruiting class or 2019 recruiting class coming up, or we need our athletes to have a 3-point in GPA if it's a high academic school, or whatever it might be. That information that they're giving us and also saving in their own accounts, that's going to impact what that number is that you're seeing, whether it's high or low or in between. Parts are going to be your athletic evaluation, as we just said, mostly going to be based on your video, but other factors could be a part too, again, depending on the sport, competition level, key stats, things like that. And then lastly, pretty simple, pretty straightforward, really just numbers based here, but your academics. And make sure if you have not gotten us a copy of your transcript, guys, absolutely need to get that on your profile. And any coach is going to be looking for that, and players who have a transcript that get 17 times more coaches viewing their profile than players that don't. We ran the numbers on that years ago. Again, 17 times. It's a big, big number. So get that transcript on there if you want to get more coaches really seriously taking a look at you as a recruit. But most importantly, it's also going to help us really accurately point you guys in the right direction of schools that would be a good fit. And I get this question a lot, and I completely understand this question, but even if maybe your GPA, your class rank, your test scores, any of that or all of the above is not as high as you would like it to be, we still need to know that. Obviously, we're still working. We're still looking to improve it. If you feel like you can and should do better, absolutely. And we will update it and update coaches when you do get that GPA up or get that ACT up another couple of points. You need to know in the meantime, and so do college coaches. Again, even a senior at this point, it is really not too late in the game if your scores or grades aren't exactly where you want them to be. But if a coach doesn't know that, it's much, much more of an issue than if they say, hey, we love you, we love you as a young lady or a young man. We want you to be a part of our program, but here's the deal. I need you to retake that ACT, and I need to get that another point or two higher. That's not a big problem at all if they know it and they can have that conversation. If we don't have that info, if college coaches don't have that info, no, we're running into bigger concerns. So again, make sure you guys have a transcript, and if you have taken them, get your ACTs and SATs posted there too. If we don't have that info, if coaches don't have that info, we're really going to be able to accurately match you guys up, okay? Once we get you matched up, though, we will be sending your information out to coaches, again, once we have all the info we need. So a transcript, test scores, video. I know in football, college coaches tell us, hey, we really only want to get varsity film when we're evaluating players. I understand a lot of guys don't make it to varsity till junior year, senior year. That's okay. It's normal in our sport. Other sports might be a little different. You know, if you're a softball or baseball player, they're looking more for skills footage. You know, they're probably looking for you to play, maybe varsity, but also for a pretty good travel team, right, or a club team. Same thing with soccer maybe. So again, talk to your head recruiting coach if you have any questions on that of really what a college coach is going to look for. But generally speaking, we're going to want either varsity experience or film or a high-level travel or club team, depending on what sport you're at. We've got that as well as a transcript and test scores if you're old enough. We'll send info out to any schools that you're getting a high match with. Happy to send that out multiple times, guys. So if you have if you get new film, if you get a new test score and you got another point or two on the CT or something, let us know. We can absolutely send it out to them again and update them on that new info. Okay, but we're to help you guys get your foot in the door, get your information seen by these coaches. Those would also be good schools to start checking out. If you haven't already researched them, do work on them. Go look at them because these could be great options for you. This is a great way to help you easily build out your target list, right? Helps take some of that heavy lifting off your plate. Good also be getting these emails that show up that'll say you've been matched with college coaches. So keep an eye out for those. If you see that hitting your inbox, guys, you know, and it'll really spell out for you if you read these emails. But hey, your information was just sent to the following schools, whether it's 20 or 100 or however many your head recruiting coach just picked for you. Again, you'll know that, hey, my info just went out to these schools. I probably want to check them out. Okay, look into them if you haven't already. You can do is just sort of proactively go start looking at schools on your own. The Coach Map is one of the best tools here to help you guys save a lot of time and effort with that. I'm going to pause for a second and ask a quick question. How many of you have used the College Search Map before? How many of you are pretty familiar with that tool, that Colleges tab on accounts? And don't be, I'm sure not everybody has, so I'm not going to hold it against you here. I just want to get an idea for who hasn't used that a whole lot. Okay, awesome. Couple times there. Matthew used it. Great. Anybody that hasn't used it or doesn't really feel comfortable using that tool yet, or sort of how it all works? Appreciate that. Okay, Ty. So it looks like we've had a bunch of folks that have used it, but you know, at least one here that maybe hasn't used it. And thank you again for your honesty. I do appreciate that. I'm sure you're not the only one. So what I'm going to do real quickly here, guys, is open up an account here, and let me just give the Find Colleges tab. I don't want to give away anybody's info or anything like that, but I do want to do a quick demo for you. So you all know how to really use this feature, because this will be, again, one of the best ways for you to start looking at all the different programs that are out there and schools that are available to you. Oh, ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and share my Google Chrome. So there's the screen over here in a second. Okay. And hopefully you guys are all seeing this screen now. So I'm just going to pick my home state here, Illinois. This will be under the Find Colleges tool tab, and then this College Search Map is the first section. You can also check out the roster openings and the coach requests. A lot of great info in here too, guys. I'll actually talk about those in just a sec. But really quickly, again, you can pick multiple states, whatever you want to do. You just do one at a time. You could do the whole map. If you don't do anything, it'll just show you the nationwide search. And also, if you scroll down, don't forget about this stuff here. You can say, okay, I really only want to look at 1AA football teams, or want to look at the most selective schools, or I'm looking for a school with a certain size or a major that you're interested in. I want to go study, journalism, right? So stuff you can play around with here. For now, we'll just keep it simple. Just going to do a search for Illinois. It's going to show me all the football programs, or all the schools, I should say, with a football team in Illinois. What you're also going to see is the match level. And I'll get into the match analysis because, again, I don't want to get too much of this young man's info, but to give you guys, again, that percentage. Okay, high, low, in between. Let you guys know sort of what schools would probably be a great fit. You can also show, all schools on one page if you want. Again, this is a really good tool, and I generally recommend, focus on schools with in the 70s or 80s or 90s would be even better. Those are going to be your best options overall. So if we kind of pick one here at random, a lot of other great information on their page. You can go find their recruiting questionnaire right here. If it's summertime and camp seasons here, you can sign up for camps that way. Again, you can see a little bit more about well, why is this one a 77? Why is it not higher or lower? I'll show you that. It'll show you their coaching staff here. Here's all the coaches that are active on our network from this stuff that might be good to reach out to. Admissions information, different majors the school offers, tons and tons of stuff in here. So get sure that you're using this tool, guys. And the thing you can do, if you really aren't sure, okay, I don't know if location or a major or a size of school or what, I haven't figured out what's most important yet, go and even just say, just show me my top matches. Okay, I'm going to show you schools here with those the 90s or 70s, 80s, and 90s, I should say. So even that, might help you guys narrow things down. Again, he's getting a lot, but again, hopefully that helps get an idea of sort of all the different features you can use on that. But remember, guys, that you're really using that Find Colleges tool, and as you see, again, you can search for a ton of different criteria depending on what's most important to you, what priorities are that we talked about before. Once you have identified a school, kind of like I showed you, go to that profile page. Go check it out a little bit more detail. And I do recommend use this link too, guys, where it says school information provided by Niche. Niche is another company that we work with here where we get the academic data from schools. So this is where you can see, okay, here's what the average GPA was from last year's freshman class, or average SAT or ACT score. You can get reviews, from current students, former students, really get a lot more info of what it's like to just be on campus there. And again, make sure that it's a good for you academically as well. Athletic, what we want to do is really jump on that team's website. So whatever sport you're in, softball, track, football, baseball, any of them, they're going to have a team website. So go to the school's website and check out their roster. What you will focus on is look at players at your position. If you're a linebacker, get the linebackers there. If you're a center in basketball, go look at their post players. You're really looking for some basic info for starters. What's their height and weight? Am I about the same size as the athletes they usually recruit? Am I where they're from? Do they only recruit in-state and I'm halfway across the country? That might make things a little tougher. Does it mean you can't play there? Of course not. It means that, they're not going to be coming to you. They're pretty much just recruiting their backyard. You're really going to have to put in a little more effort, and we will along with you, to get our foot in the door there, right? So you can learn a lot from looking at the school's roster. Their main goal of researching the school a little bit more like that is finding something pretty specific that you like about it, whether about their team or their school, or even, again, be geographically, I want to stay close to home. I want mom and dad to come watch all my games, and school's only an hour down the road. That's great. What is, you really want to have one or two or even three pretty specific things like that you include in your email that you're going to send to these coaches to introduce yourself so they can tell you did your homework. You put some thought and effort into this, and you're not blasting the same email to every single school in the country. That's you guys a whole lot more responses if you take in something specific that you find when you're checking the school out, okay, that interests you. Let's make on that. So, those emails, you've really started to research and put together your target list. Again, we want about 25 schools or more. Certainly feel free to go above and beyond that if you want. Start emailing those coaches. You want to start introducing yourself, get feedback from them, figure out, who's most interested in you too. Where do we have some fits here from both sides? To get more information on that, make sure you go sign up for Coach Communications 101. Okay, it's called Coach Communication 101, Nailing College Coaches the Right Way. And I do recommend to take all of our Coach Communication series, but that'll be the best one to start you guys with coming out of this class. Okay? All for your attention. I really appreciate that. And we still have about 35 minutes, so if there's any questions, don't be shy. Use that chat box. If you're all set, feel free to jump out. Again, I appreciate your guys' time and attention, and I hope this was helpful. I'm going to just sit back here and see if there's any questions you all have. But if you're feeling good, feel free to jump off if you guys are all set. Your words, thank you. Appreciate it. Here from Alex, kind of off topic, but what do you put for cumulative GPA? Is it a combination of unweighted and weighted GPA? Alex, that's a great question. You will notice if you go to, let me get back to a screenshot here where you can see your whole profile. I think we've got one in here. Maybe not, but if you go to the Edit Profile tab and then go to Academics, you'll see that there's actually a place to put in your cumulative GPA, which would be your unweighted GPA. That's what a school like admissions office would look at, the unweighted entire high school cumulative GPA. But you can also put in your weighted GPA there too, especially if you are a guy or gal who's taken honor, AP, IB courses, dual credit courses even in college. Those help bump up your weighted GPA, so I do recommend to include that if you do have a weighted GPA from taking some of those higher level classes. But for the cumulative GPA or just your overall GPA, that would be your unweighted. Question from Ty. What is the overall expected time frame for the recruiting process? That's a great question, Ty, and it really just depends on your sport a lot. Every sport's going to have kind of their own pace timing that they move at. For example, I mean, Division I softball, like they'll be offering a ton of eighth graders even. Division I football, they're still offering, the majority of players will be sophomores or juniors. So again, it can be really, really different depending on your sport. I would reach out to your head recruiting coach, maybe just send them a quick email. We'd be happy to help you out with that a little bit more specifically. Also depends on your division level. And if you're more of a Division II or Division III guy, we're probably going all the way through senior year, through the end of senior season, again, in football. Not sure exactly if that'll be the case in other sports, but a lot of it just depends on the sort and sort of your best skill level. Austin, you're very welcome. I'm glad this was helpful. Thank you guys for sticking around. Ty, thank you as well. I hope that was helpful. Again, just send a quick email to your head recruiting coach, and we can answer that a little bit more personally for you. Any questions, guys? We still have a lot of time here, so don't be shy to keep those coming in if there's anything else. Another question here from Alex. I took IB, and I haven't seen a spot to put that in the academics page of my profile. I'm not looking in the right place. That's a great question. I would include that under the AP courses. AP and IB are going to be very similar, and certainly both of them are very, very high academics. So, and if you upload a copy of your transcript, Alex, then coaches will see, okay, he's taking IB courses here. That should also help to bump up your weighted GPA, and then towards the very bottom of the academics page, it will allow you to even list any specific AP or honors or IB courses you've taken. So you can even go and just come in there if you want coaches to know exact IB courses that you've taken. At the bottom of the edit profile and then academics page there. Malcolm, thank you too. Have a great night as well. Appreciate it. And went for about 5 more minutes, guys. So again, I see we still have a couple guys in here. But if you do have any other questions, go ahead and type those in. And if not, we'll wrap this up and send the recording out to everybody. I think it's just you and me now. There was one left. So if you have questions, again, go ahead and get those typed in. If you're feeling good, yeah, you can sign up for, just let me know, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Not sure if Davis is still on, but we'll go ahead and wrap up tonight's session. Again, thank you all for out tonight. For any of you watching the recording, if you do have any further questions, please feel free, give us a call. My number here before we wrap up, but we are open 7 days a week at 877-845-6272. You can also email us 7 days a week, recruitinghelp@ndsasports.org. Again, we'll have coaches here every day answering those emails for you guys as well. Then you all have a great rest of your evening, and again, sign up for Coach Communication 101 to take your next class there. Have a great day.